This recipe is Muscat and vanilla poached peaches. Now it's a great time of year for cooking with peaches and they're lovely and ripe. You need 1 peach per person and I've got 6, so there's enough here for 6 people. So what we need to do is quarter our peaches. So just with a small sharp knife, run it down the line of the peach all the way along. Roll the peach as you hold the knife steady and then a gentle twist to separate the 2 halves. And then cut in half. Pop into the bowl with all of the others. I find it easier to leave the stone in and then cut it against the stone, and then it's easier just to pop the stone out, especially if they're nice and ripe. You don't want to squash them. Get that one out. Again, I'm going to cut along the line of the peach just by rolling it. Gentle twist. And then into quarters. If you just separate the 2 halves, the stone should just ease out. So that's all of our peaches prepared. You need quite a large pan so that we can sit the peaches in so that they sit really snugly together in the base. And then we're going to pour our muscat over the top. Now I've got a bottle here. 375 ml, and it's just a delicious dessert one, and it goes really, really nicely with the flavour of the peaches. It's going to make a delicious dessert. Just pour it over, and then what we need to do is turn the heat on. Now cook the peaches for exactly 2 minutes. What you want for them to do is go tender but without collapsing, still keep their shape, and then turn off the heat, leave them to cool completely in the liquid, and then scoop them out into a bowl. So I've got my cooled poaching liquid here, and to that I'm going to add 75 grams of golden castor sugar. In that goes. And now it's time for our vanilla. I've got a vanilla pod here. I'm going to use the whole one. What we need to do is very carefully with the tip of your knife, I'm going to start with the curl at the top. I just flatten it out and just run the knife. You're trying to split it evenly down the middle. Just run it straight down the length of the vanilla pod and then open it out. And then with the tip of your knife, the point again, just run it down the length. Get all those little seeds, that's where all the flavour is. I'm just going to run that against the tine of my whisk so I can beat it into the syrup. There we go. Same with the other side. Scrape them all out and into the syrup. Now you don't want to lose any of those seeds, so make sure they're all in there. I'm going to pop the pod in as well. Now what we need to do is get this heat on. Bring it to a gentle simmer. It's going to take about 5 minutes just to warm through and really get the sugar dissolving and the vanilla flavour infusing. It's going to give it a little whisk because the seeds are in clumps and I want to make sure that they're broken up and distributed into the liquid. Now while that's happening, I'm going to make a caramel that we're going to add to the syrup. And for that, we need 50 grams of golden castor sugar. It's going into a separate pan. And we're just going to add a little splash. It's about 4 tablespoons of cold water. Pour that on. And when you're making caramel, you need to be quite careful at the beginning stages because what you want to do is get the sugar to dissolve. So we're going to stir it now while the sugar dissolves. And once we're happy that it's dissolved, we're going to raise the heat and bubble it and keep an eye on it till we get that beautiful classic caramel colour. Now my caramel's nearly ready. It's starting to smell fantastic and the bubbles are getting larger and the colour's coming through. I'm going to turn off the heat, just let the bubbles subside. Now you need to be quite careful here because the caramel's really hot. I'm just going to lift out this vanilla pod. And then I'm carefully just going to pour the liquid into the caramel. And it might sputter up a little bit. And because they're both warm, they should blend together really nicely now. Just give them a little stir. Syrup and the caramel are mixing in. and the flavours are combining. So all you need to do now is turn off that heat, make sure everything's off, and just leave it to cool completely, and then we'll be ready to serve it with our peaches. So my chilled peaches and syrup are ready now. All I need to do is top them with a spoonful of lovely Greek yoghurt and a little drizzle of that vanilla and muscat syrup.